we're really excited now to hear back from all of our groups. If your group is giving a presentation, I believe that you have signed up. And the sign-up sheet has disappeared, so, oh, it's over there. I can't see it, so someone like Michael is going to tell me which groups. Whoever signed up for the first slot, please come up and give your presentation.
Yes, come in.
Hey Brian, I need to talk to you, man.
What about?
You've been living in this building for 2 years. You're a good guy. I like you and everything. You know what, man? I'm gonna have to start eviction proceedings against you. You know, for 3 reasons. I'm tired of you leaving your recycle outside your front door. I'm also keep getting complaints about you playing your music too loud after 10. I've asked you to stop doing that like twice or 2 or 3 times already. And your dog keeps crapping in the elevator. So, as much as I like you, I'm going to have to start eviction proceedings against you. And you have a nice day.
Oh, no. What am I going to do?
Hello, 311.
Hi, I need your help. My landlord just came in and told me I was going to get evicted. I don't know why.
Stay where you are. Stay on the phone. I'm gonna get you some help. I'm gonna call Tits right now.
TITS is the Tenant Information Tactical Strike.
Hi, this is Lexi with the Tenant Informational Tactical Strike.
Hi, my name is Brian. I need some help because my landlord is going to evict me for no reason. His house, this place I live in is dirty, and I pay subsidized rent, and I need help.
Okay, Brian, that sounds like something we might be able to help with. Do you have rent control?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and what else is going on in the apartment?
Well, it's always dirty. He doesn't come and fix anything, and he just doesn't listen to me.
Okay, well, the Tenant Informational Tactical Strike is a group of good neighbors who can help you navigate your housing resources. When would be a good time for us to come out this afternoon to chat with you about your options?
As soon as possible, anytime is fine.
Okay, how about 3:30 to 4:30? Is that a good window?
That is great.
Okay, someone will be there between 3:30 and 4:30. I'm going to go call the resources now, and you'll hear a knock at the door between that hour, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hi. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to say no, please after you. After you, I insist.
Yes, come in.
Hi, Brian. How are you? I'm Mariah.
Brian.
Hey, I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Don't forget Alex.
We're here from the Benefits Rapid Assessment. We're here to support you.
Yes, I really need your help. My landlord's trying to evict me.
Okay, what we can do, Brian, is we can help walk you to the resources that you need. How about if we meet you at such and such a time, 9 o'clock tomorrow at such and such a place, and we can start to get the ball rolling.
Oh, I really appreciate it, and that would really help me.
That sounds great. We'll go tomorrow at 9.
All righty, thank you.
That's awesome. Okay, I have to say, we didn't know exactly what to expect from presentations. That was really cool. Thank you. I don't know who's got the theater background to help guide that, but that was really cool. Okay, I think we have the next group. Michael, do you want to read the next group? It's, I think, 1.5. Because they sort of snuck in there. Sorry, group 2. Okay, thank you.
Was either housing cities.
Imagine a normal neighborhood on a normal day, an elderly woman alone in a home, and a young woman looking for a place to live.
I want to stay here. The house that raised my kids. The house I've been here 45 years and now they're all gone. He's gone. The roof, they tell me I gotta fix the roof. I don't have the money. I live on Social Security. But I like the neighborhood. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm lonely. I gotta do something. It's getting to be too big a deal. And if I move, the taxes. I Proposition 13, it won't protect me anymore. What do I do? It's just getting too much. Come in.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Gray.
Nice to meet you. Sit.
Thank you. I'm Elizabeth Middlesmith. I'm from Housing City.
Okay.
I have a solution for you.
Oh, you heard what I was talking about. So, what is it you do?
Well, I represent Housing City, and we have been building secondary units in your community for a very long time.
Like Ginger, my neighbor. She's got that other little place on the property. Oh, I don't have any money to build anything.
Well, the beauty is that we build it.
Oh, you build it? But do I pay you?
No, we pay you.
You pay me? How does this work?
Well, it's kind of like Solar City. The company that puts the panels on your roof.
Yeah. Okay.
We build the unit.
Yeah.
We give you a lump sum. And then we take a percentage of the rent.
Oh, I can't be a landlord. I don't know anything about being a landlord.
I understand that. It could be a daunting task, yes, but we not only, one of our services as part of the package is that we do property management for you and help with the leasing and that sort of thing.
This sounds very good. I like this idea. Let's talk some.
I'm wondering if all the theatrical presentations were Yee's influence, or you guys just came with it. And it's quite appropriate that we're doing all of this here at the intersection for the arts. So,
No, that's not. Hi, I'm James, this is Bonnie, and we started looking at what are the challenges of building community, and a lot of those are especially about how do we build community affordably, affordably for the long term. And one of the challenges that we identified was, or the opportunities to build more affordability is, well, oftentimes people go for whatever is cheap, whatever is fast, whatever is easy. What can you build with that simply, with whatever money you have available, what's the cheapest way to get the thing done? Maybe there's going to be more maintenance costs, replacement costs down the road, but that's somebody else's problem. But if you're building a community for the long run, and not House of Cards, then maybe there's ways you can say, oh, what if instead of that 30-year roof, we build a 50-year roof? What if we build our walls in ways that support each other and have an insulation pocket built in? Sure, it's going to cost a little more up front, but in the long run, you're going to be spending less, living greener, better for the earth and for the community, and happier about the result. So, whatever form your house takes in community, that's the kind of innovation that, as a community working together, that you can prioritize and say this is aligned with our values. This is aligned in our long-term interests. We're building not just for get it built and go away, but we're going to be here for the long term, so let's make sure our costs are down.
Micro and modular solution.
micro and modular solutions. Did it probably check out those that we've done or checking off or something? Okay, thank you.
So what we first discovered when we tried to define micro-housing or modular housing is that everybody has a different goal or a different vision of what that's like and what it's for and how they would use it. So here are a couple visions of micro-housing.
I have a dream. I have a dream of growing old in my friend's backyard and having dinner with them and taking care of each other.
I move every 2 years, so I would like to maximize the experience of living in each place that I live in. Maybe like living in the attic of the most famous historic building in the city that I'm currently inhabiting.
I just got out of grad school and I just want to find a place to crash till I get my shit together.
we looked at all the challenges, you know, some of the advantages, you know, the different configurations, and we really realized that this problem is going to require the community to come together and figure it out.
So I guess in summary, what we tried to develop as a prototype at the end of our discussion this afternoon was some kind of a website, which is both an informational platform as well as a social networking platform for people, you know, the diverse kinds of people who would like to live in and be associated with microstructures. So obviously, you know, we presented some of the perspectives, you know, people are in it for different reasons. And while we were discussing, we also realized that one person's microstructure is completely different from another person's. You know, a lot of people were thinking about large complexes of smaller units, whereas other people wanted something isolated that they could put in anywhere, or that they could knock it down and put it at the back of their SUV and take it to the next place that they were moving to.
Carl, I'm in a BMR situation. My rent's gone up, and my rent and my income's gone up a little bit, but I'm about to be priced out of my apartment. What do I do?
Well, we could, you know, the Mayor's Office of Housing, Community and Housing has been looking into this issue because of the fact that, you know, we don't want you, we understand what happened with your situation. You know, you've been here with us, you came in, you know, as homeless person. And then you got, you know, you were able to get a job at Twitter, you know, in the kitchen. And, you know, we understand what it took for you to get off drugs, get off the street, get into affordable housing. And so our program is to, you know, we have been working with the, you know, with the Mayor's Office of Housing on being able to give you an extension on your, you know, on your current rent for a year. And then you're going to be able to onboard. I'm going to give you I'm going to make some phone calls for you and get you into some programs that are going to help you to be able to transition, you know, next year should that become, you know, available to you.
The problem in San Francisco right now is that this program doesn't really exist. For many BMR units, for many people who have gotten off the streets or finally gotten housing, as soon as they succeed a little bit too much, as soon as their wages go up, they just are, because of a variety of different regulations out there, are not allowed to keep their existing housing. So it either encourages them to not be as successful, or it forces them to uproot and go find somewhere else to live, which can be incredibly disruptive for their newfound success.
So some of the ways that we've been looking at this is that instead of an annual research for your BMR stands for below market rate unit, instead of an annual research, we moved to a 3-year research. That allows for, instead of all of our agencies constantly recertifying people, that actually costs more, and that also causes families and individuals not to get rooted here in San Francisco. Even though they have a unit and they have a home to live in, they don't necessarily want to take a job or something that might displace them. So we're advocating for, instead of an annual recertification, to a 3-year, and that the city of San Francisco advocate with the federal and state government to be able to move this to a 3-year certification nationwide.
Okay, here we go. What's the name of your group?
We don't have a good name.
They don't have a good name, but they're going to come back up on stage in a second. Okay.
Good evening and welcome here tonight to our round table. I'm Charlie Rose. I'd like to welcome tonight. We're going to be tackling a subject that's been very painful and excruciating for a lot of people, not only through the Bay Area of the country, but throughout the world. And we're very lucky tonight, very lucky, that we have these two esteemed and very well-respected individuals in their fields. The subject matter we're going to be talking about is the housing. Just putting a roof over somebody's head. And, but not just any kind of housing that we can all afford. From those who earn next to nothing, to those even just up to the middle income. affordable housing, middle income. And it's a very, very complicated subject. And here tonight we have two individuals, dare I say, very well respected, true visionaries in their field. And did I mention very well respected? But anyway, the two subjects that we're going to be touching on, one is, dare I say, tax reform and also securities reform. And the other subject will be the housing authority, the infamous housing authority that tends to crash and burn every now and then. And these gentlemen are true, dare I say, revolutionaries.
All right. One of the first things we looked at and we identified is that it really comes down to the dollars, and that we need funding. To be able to have deed-restricted affordable housing and build affordable housing, there needs to be a funding source. One of the things that most people are not aware of is a kind of two-part. Low-income taxpayers pay for a percentage, but it doesn't add equity. And there's not a permanent source out there at the state or at the local level. You know, you have the Prop 1C that took place, or even at Prop 1C at the state level. Those are bond initiatives. They're nice little plugs in the dam. They last for a short period, then they go away, which creates a speculative market per se. So one of the things we looked at is two different ways to bring funding. And right now, a lot of funding comes in either through that bonding or through local fees with different municipalities, just like any other infrastructure. And what we really said is, what's the most radical thing we could come up with? And the radical thing we came up to is tax reform. And by tax reform, we mean getting rid of a lot of the local fees and going back to a top-down tax. Going back to almost a pre-Prop 13 and coming up with more substance where it's being distributed throughout. It's not as popular, but if we look at when it was successful in the past and when the state was successful, whether education, whether housing, that was the structure we had, rather than looking at it as a business part. The secondary part of that, though, is we also looked at how could we get better and newer financing tools. And one of the things we realized is a lot of securities exchange laws, a lot of the ways we fund doesn't allow for like crowdfunding per se, or small investments into affordable housing. You'll see big programs like pension programs like CalPERS back different affordable housing projects, but there should be a way to have a collective pool. Yes, affordable housing, one of the nicest things about affordable housing is it's very low risk money. Those funds out there are vetted like crazy, and because of that there is a return.
And then another part that we maybe didn't all agree on was that I sort of think that if we're going to raise taxes and have a steady stream of funding, that the housing should be provided by the government. There should be a reinvigorated housing authority for the 21st century. Put TNBC out of business. No, I'm just kidding. No, TNBC's great, but I think that the city should look at it as more like something like, the MTA. It should be for public benefit. It shouldn't be run like a business. That's something we all agreed on. That it needs to. The affordable housing needs to be consistently funded, recognize that it's as important as utilities, and recognize that there is an ongoing subsidy that has to go into it.
Our group, I was working with the policy group, and as mentioned, one of the things we looked at was how can we make higher density zoning in West San Francisco more appealing. So here's the problem, right? And the planning department outlined this too. Here's our beautiful city, and 70% of it is R1, R2, low density. That's all this light yellow stuff. So, of course we have a housing crisis. It's a very desirable place to live. It's a small peninsula, and 70% of our land mass is 1 or 2, maybe a 3-story. Here's a picture. I mean, yes, the community's great here, but the problem is we're not facilitating very many people to live in this highly desirable place. So what's the solution? Rezoning, but with one condition, that the current residents get to live in the same place. Let's not displace the neighborhoods. Let's not displace the people. Let's let people who've always lived in San Francisco continue to live here. And at the same time, continue to develop those lots so that more people can live here as well. Maintain the 12% on-site requirements that currently exist for BMR housing and the 20% off-site. And then I think we should also look at the 30% requirements that some people have put in place for the Western districts. Because, look, you're never going to get a development like this if you require that 30% of it be affordable housing. You know, if a developer that's looking to put the investment into a steel frame building like this, that then you say, all right, that's a beautiful tower you planned, but 30% of it has to be below market rate.
So we went meta here. So our premise was that our problems are regional, but we don't act like a region. And this is a theme I think we've heard throughout the day. So our solution is regional government. Just kidding. That doesn't work. And actually, we have an incredibly long history of failure with efforts to get together and be one big happy family. That's because there's no incentive, there's no reason to buy in from municipal level. Basically, we compete, we don't collaborate. So our goal is to foster a sense of regional identity and citizenship. We got to do this from the grassroots. So imagine we're in a building slightly larger than this, maybe some people with a little more money in their pockets. It's this huge event and this big pomp and circumstance and all sorts of cameras and everything. And regional leaders convene and they announce a prize fund for regional initiatives. So it's kind of like this meta thing. It's a pitch competition, but it's not for companies promising profit. It's for civic initiatives promising regional change. Key word here is regional. So groups can be ragtag or formal, it doesn't matter. And the focus of the first year of this grand initiative is housing.
To give a little framework, there's a lot of issues happening. There's a lot of things happening with the housing crisis. When you have this discussion, you have different interests, you have different vantage points. You have people getting displaced today. You have infrastructure of homes that people live today. And then you have affordable housing that's looking to be built in the future. So there's an immediate issue. There's how do we get it done now? Then there's, okay, maybe 5 years from now, what do we do? Then there's the long-term plan. Our plan is to figure out how do we build on the infrastructure we currently have. And I'll leave it at that.
So one thing that we came up with was density is definitely something that we agreed on as a group in terms of need for more housing if we can become more density. We also realized that there are a lot of avenues and neighborhoods out in the Sunset and the Richmond where they already have zoning that's higher than what they currently are building. So what if we looked at a product like Takeo from Zeta talked to us today that it's already prefab, can be built somewhere else, and then can be placed on top of current existing buildings to increase the density to get up to the zoning that we have. We definitely had some questions, and we weren't structural engineers or finance people, so we didn't have the solutions exactly, but we're thinking that.
Sure. So one of the issues is, structurally, a lot of these areas are zoned for 3 to 4 stories that we're discussing. Imagine an entire block that has 100 homes. It only has 2 stories of apartment buildings, flats. If we can get floors with 4 or 5 apartments that are light enough to put on top of the building, the question is, will the foundation be able to support that? It's quite possible that it can.